Hello and welcome into the NJCAA Network. It is an exciting Selection Wednesday. Today we announce the 12 seeds in our NJCAA Division III Women's Basketball National Championship. Hi, I'm Zach McKinstry, and exciting to give you these 12 seeds. 8 district champions have already submitted their spot, and we have 4 at-large bids to unveil for this tournament starting next week, March the 13th through March 16th in Rochester, Minnesota at the Regional Sports Complex. Let's go ahead and look at how this tournament will look, with the top 4 seeds getting first round byes. The number 1, 2, 3, and 4 all start on March the 14th. The 8-9 matchup will play the winner of that will play the 1 seed. 5 and 12 will play the 4, then 7 and 10 and 6 and 11 on the opposite side of the bracket. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and look at the top 4 seeds in this tournament that will be getting first round byes. We start with the number 1 overall seed, Minnesota West and the Lady Jays. After finishing as the national runner-up last year, Minnesota West will take their 5th team to a national tournament and look to claim their first national title. The Lady Jays are led by Olivia Hyena, the niece of head coach Rosalie Hyena, has been one of the top players in all of Division III this year, averaging 23.2 points a game. She'll have to continue her stellar season if the Lady Jays want to make another deep tournament run. The number 2 seed and another first round bye is our first at-large bid, Rochester. The Yellow Jackets look to make it their 3rd straight national title as they return as an at-large bid this season. 2 of the 4 losses on the year have come in the last 5 games, so RCTC needs to get back on track as the number 2 seed. They are led by freshman guard Micaiah Copeland, who's averaging 16.3 points this year for the Yellow Jackets. We move to the number 3 overall seed. It is Onondaga and the Lasers, 28-2 on the year. This marks the 3rd straight season that the Lasers have gone to the national tournament. This fast-tempo offense has the 3rd highest scoring output of any NJCAA Division III team, putting up 77.9 points a game on 30 made field goals a game. The number 4 seed and the last first-round bye in this tournament is Anoka Ramsey. The Rams lost twice in the regular season to Rochester CTC, but dethroned the top seed when it counted to clinch an automatic berth and a Region 13A championship. Sophomore guard Michaela Holton is coming off a tournament MVP and looks to keep the Rams rolling into Rochester. So let's go ahead and look at how this bracket looks with the 4 teams. The number 1, again, is Minnesota West. They will play the winner of the 8 and 9 matchup. Rochester on the opposite side of the bracket as the 2 seed. Onondaga is the 3, and then Anoka Ramsey is the 4 seed as the last team to get a first round bye. So let's go ahead and talk with the coach of the number 1 overall team for Minnesota West. It is head coach Rosalie Hyena. All right, welcome in Coach Rosalie Hyena, coach of Minnesota West and the Lady Jays. Congratulations, Coach, on the number 1 overall seed. What was your reaction when you found out you got that top seed in this national tournament?
You know what, just I suppose, pretty shocked maybe a little bit, and just pretty humbled and excited to get that. I mean, there's so many good teams across the country, and to think that we're the number 1 seed, that's a pretty amazing thing for this team and for this institution, I think. So we were very excited.
Well, you talk about this team. It's obviously been a very special run for Minnesota West this year, and it's been pretty special for you as well, getting to coach your niece, Olivia, who has been phenomenal over the last 2 years with the Lady Jays. What has that relationship been like with her, and how proud are you to see her success in the 2 years at Minnesota West?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to put into words how special these 2 years have been. You have to kind of separate where you look at things as a proud aunt and then as a coach, and to keep kind of that. But if I'm talking about, me as an aunt and being able to coach her and spend all this time with her over the 2 years and just be able to see what she's been able to do, it's been unbelievable. I mean, I'm so proud of her for all that she's accomplished. And I think, the saddest part for me coming to the end of these 2 years is just I don't get to hang out with her anymore. Because she's been a part of my life since day 1, basically, that she's been born. It's been a pretty special relationship. So to get to coach her and to get to do some of these special things, like I said, it's almost impossible to put into words how amazing it's been.
It's definitely one of the cooler stories in all of college basketball to see the success that both of you have had. Moving on, redemption arc from last year, runner-up in last year's season. How does this team feel? What's the locker room vibe like moving into this national tournament?
Well, I think from when we lost in that national championship last year, especially to lose to Rochester, they're a big rival of ours, and there's just that feeling for those 5 sophomores to want to get back there and to want to be able to just kind of avenge that, maybe, if that's a good word. But it's been special for us because we talked about last year where we were so successful, but we really never got to celebrate anything. We didn't win the division, we didn't win the region, we didn't win the national championship game. And so even to win that regional this weekend, for those sophomores, that was kind of a pretty neat thing for them to be able to actually celebrate, to cut down a net, to do some of those things. But like I said, even since last year, those 5 have been talking about, getting back there, maybe some unfinished business, hoping that we can try to get another shot at it. And so, to be able to do that, I think is pretty special for those 5.
It's going to be really exciting to watch for sure. And congratulations again, Coach, on that #1 overall seed, and best of luck in the tournament.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks again to Coach Hyena. A great storyline to look out for with her and Olivia and the rest of that Minnesota West team that has been absolutely balling this year. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we unveil the remaining 8 teams in this tournament and how they are seeded. So stay with us on the NJCAA Network.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
I have a little birthday message for you from someone too.
I heard you really love basketball. You're a good shooter and a good dribbler. Happy birthday, MJ, and I hope you enjoy your day.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Welcome back into the NJCAA Network, and now it's time for what everyone has been waiting for as we unveil the remaining 8 seeds in this tournament. But first, let's look at how the tournament looks one more time. Minnesota West the 1, Rochester the 2, Onondaga the 3, and Anoka Ramsey is the 4. And we start today by unveiling the 8 and 9 matchup, the winner of which will take on that #1 seeded Minnesota West. The 8 seed in this tournament is Prince George's. The Owls can score from all over with a very young team. Only 1 sophomore on the roster, with 5 freshmen averaging 10 or more points a game. Head coach Devin May has built a really good roster up there in Maryland, and they'll be a team to look out for this year and next year. They will play the #9 seed in this tournament. It is Rhode Island. The Knights are dancing for the 3rd straight season after a thrilling 3rd quarter comeback against Northern Essex in the Region 21 title game. CCRI has a stout defense that is only allowing 45.7 points a game this year under Knights Hall of Famer Doug Haynes. So that 8-9 matchup will play Minnesota West, and we move now to the 5 and 12 matchup, who will play Anoka Ramsey. We start with our first at-large bid in this one. It is #5 Northland. The Pioneers are a feel-good story. After having a down year last season, they've rattled off a 22-5 mark this year, highlighted by 3 ranked wins. They beat Minnesota State in OT to advance to the Region 13B championship, but fell to Minnesota West in overtime in the title game. Look out for Emma Osborne, who is averaging 4 3-pointers a game for Northland this year. They'll play the 12th seed, and our third total at-large bid, Nassau. The final seed in this tournament The Lions fought through a tough start to December where they lost 5 of 6 to sneak into the national tournament. Nassau won 12 in a row before falling to Monroe College Bronx in the Region 15 final and have been led by Ayanna Hamilton, who is scoring 23.9 a game over 22 games started. Congratulations to Nassau for getting into this one. They'll play Northland, and the winner of that to take on Anoka Ramsey. We move to the next matchup. It is the 7 and the 10, and our final at-large bid in this one gets the 7 spot. Jefferson. All 3 losses this year came at the hands of Onondaga, but the Cannoneers went flawless against the rest of their opponents, getting to the Region 3 championship. Lakaya Butcher was named the Mid-State Athletic Conference Player of the Year after putting up 17.4 points a game, and Jefferson looks to control the glass in this tournament after finishing first in the NJCAA in rebounds per game. The 23-3 Cannoneers will take on the 10 seed in RCSJ Gloucester. It is the Roadrunners. After dropping 2 games on the year to other national tournament qualifiers, CCRI and Onondaga, the Roadrunners rattled off 21 straight en route to a Mid-Atlantic District Championship. Look out for their stout defense. They hold opponents to only 44 points a game and an NJCAA best 28.5% from the field against. We move along to our final quadrant. It is the 6 and the 11, starting with our 6 seed, Dallas College, Cedar Valley. Cedar Valley returns to the tournament for the first time since the COVID season. The Suns got hot at the right time, winning 10 of their last 11, including a 14-point victory over the host Joliet in the Central District Championship. They'll take on the 11 seed, Monroe College Bronx. The surprise of the automatic bids is Monroe College Bronx, who claimed their 3rd straight region championship on Sunday. It looked like that run would end after a 5-game skid at the end of the regular season. The Express would win their way through Region 15 on the back of Deja Smith, who is putting up 22.2 points a game as a freshman. Can Monroe keep that mojo going? We'll find out. They play on March 16th against Cedar Valley, and the winner of that matchup will take on Onondaga. All right, let's look at the bracket with all the teams unveiled. Congratulations to all those teams that made it. As again, we look at the top left quadrant, Minnesota West, the 1 seed. They will play the winner of Prince George's and Rhode Island. Beneath them is Anoka Ramsey. They will play the 2 at-large matchups, Northland or Nassau. Then on the opposite side of the bracket, it's Rochester, the 2. It's Jefferson and RCSJ Gloucester. And beneath them, Onondaga, the 3. And Dallas College, Cedar Valley, and Monroe Bronx. We're going to step aside here on the NJCAA network. And when we come back, we have got a D3 committee chair to talk to. It's Justin Hoyt that gives us the insight on how these selections were made and what went into this. So stay with us.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Welcome back to the NJCAA Network. We've got a special guest with us now. It is the chair of the Division III Women's Basketball Committee, Justin Hoyt. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I think one of the more pertinent things that pops up when you look at this seeding in the bracket so far in this Division III national tournament, it's Rochester dropping to that 2 seed. How tough was it for you and the rest of the committee to rank those Minnesota teams when they kind of beat up on each other all year?
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. You have Region 13 who finished last year's national tournament very strong. And ultimately it came down between Minnesota West and Rochester, and Minnesota West really finished out the season very strong with a win over Rochester towards the end of the year, and then winning the North Plains B. I think they finished 9-1 in their last 10, and Rochester obviously had a great season. They just ended up losing to Minnesota West and then Anoka at the end. So we gave the nod to Minnesota West heading into the national tournament.
And then you look at those at-large seeds, Nassau getting that number 12 seed and jumping in over Northampton and Hostos. Talk about that discussion. Always tough every year to get those at-large teams in, but what went into the decision to get Nassau that 12?
Yeah, Nassau, they had a very good season. They were always consistently ranked in our top 15. It ultimately came down between Nassau, Hostos, and Fulton Montgomery. And again, we looked at what Nassau did towards the end of the season. They made it to their championship game in the regional final. They also had beat Hostos towards the end of the year as well. So they split with Hostos during the year, but they won their most recent game by a substantial amount. So I think Nassau heading into the national tournament had a little bit more momentum, and we decided to go with Nassau as a committee for that last 12 seed.
Well, that's a good segue because it talks about the talent that there is in this tournament. There's not too much that separates the 1 through the 5 or 6 seed in this tournament. So what is that? Does that talent excite you about this? Is this one of the more diverse talent tournaments that we've seen in the last couple of years?
I think it is going to be. Our top 15 throughout the year has a lot of these teams that have been in it. I think you see the Region 13 is very strong. It'll be interesting to see how they stacks up against like an Onondaga. Onondaga, for example, they may have the most impressive resume out of all these schools. They have wins over CCRI, Gloucester, Jefferson, Monroe, Bronx, all who are in this tournament. So to see how they stack up against those Region 3 13 schools will be interesting. And then you have schools, Dallas Cedar Valley. We don't know a lot about them. They're 4-0 against Division III teams. They're usually a very strong team, but they could make some noise in the tournament. Prince George's, same thing. We don't know a lot about them. They've been pretty consistent throughout the year. They have some good wins over Hostos and Patrick and Henry. So I think the tournament's wide open this year. I don't think there's a clear-cut favorite going into it. So we're really excited to see how this shakes out.
It's definitely going to be a lot of fun, a lot to be determined. Any final comments that you had before we wrap up our selection show?
No, I just want to thank the committee for all their hard work and wish all the teams the best of luck in Rochester, Minnesota. We're looking forward to it.
Justin Hoyt, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Excited to see how this national tournament pans out. And thanks again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks again to Justin for breaking down what went into those decisions and giving everybody a little peek behind the curtain, some insight into the selection for this Division III Women's Basketball National Championship. All right, before we wrap up, let's look at this bracket one last time. Once again, Minnesota West, Rochester, Onondaga, and Anoka Ramsey are the 1 through the 4 seed in this tournament that get the first round bye. Number 8, Prince George's to take on number 9, Rhode Island. That will be a great matchup on March 13th. Then Northland and Nassau, the 5 and the 12, 2 at-large bids duking it out. Number 7, Jefferson. Number 10, RCSJ Gloucester in the top right corner. And then Dallas College Cedar Valley against Monroe College Bronx, and the Express for the 6 and the 11 to take on Onondaga, that 3 seed. So a reminder, the tournament starts next week, March 13th through the 16th, and there's going to be a lot of excitement in Rochester, Minnesota. Congratulations to all those teams that made it in, and we are excited to see you in Minnesota. Thanks for tuning in on the NJCAA Network, and best of luck.